What's up, everybody? We are back with our rookie mock draft. We're into the third round. I'm about to show you the first and second round. I'm here solo today. My brother's not here. My dad's not here. They're a little busy, but I needed to get a round three rookie mock draft out to you guys. Just kind of laying out how I would approach the draft at each draft spot. So yeah, we're gonna kind of get right into it real quick. If you could just like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're at 151 subscribers, I believe, when I last checked, which is awesome. Appreciate it. If you're watching this video and you are a subscriber, we'd like to get you in on some live shows, some live rookie mock drafts, some Dynasty startup drafts. We're going to be doing redraft stuff, redraft fantasy as well. So we're going to be doing a lot of those, and a lot of those mock drafts. We'd like to get you guys in as well. But yeah, I'll stop kind of blabbing here and kind of get right into it. Let me show you my screen here. Here we are. Excuse me there. Let me make this a little easier for you. There we go. So you can see here, we did the first two rounds. Me and my brother Brian did. You can watch those videos. They are posted if you'd like. Go back and we kind of explain why we chose who we chose. The first round, the top 10 picks, I think, are pretty set in a Superflex league. It's basically going to be the two running backs that went in the first round in Robinson and Gibbs, the three quarterbacks that went in Richardson, Young, and Stroud, the four receivers that went in the first round in Smith and Jigba, Addison, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, and then probably Will Levis should still go in the first 10 picks. If you want to switch around Flowers for Levis, if you want to switch around Addison for Johnston, I don't think there's a big argument there for us. If you even want to switch out, Gibbs, Stroud, or JSN and Stroud, if you feel strongly about those and not as strong about Stroud, that's fine too. But those are probably the 10 players that should go in the first round. After that, it gets a little bit more of a murky situation. Before the NFL draft, this was where Charbonnet would have gone. He went to Seattle, which people are very, very low on. He still has second round draft capital. So if someone really likes him, I'm not going to argue if you want to take him in the first round at the 11th or 12th pick. I would probably take A-Chain over Kendre Miller, and I would take Kincaid as well, which is what I did. So that would be the first round for me, the top 10 players, and then like A-Chain and Kincaid, whatever order you want to take those guys in. In the second round, you see a lot of guys. I was a little worried about this second round because I thought I got kind of killed after the NFL draft, and this was kind of the first mock draft that we did. And so, I feel a little bit better about it now, just looking at it. All these guys that are going in the second round here, you can kind of see their paths to being, most of them, you can see their paths to being the number one player at their position. A-Chain could be the number one running back in Miami. Mingo could be the number one receiver in Carolina. Charbonnet, obviously, you can't see him, but he's a really, really good handcuff. Marvin Mims, probably not the number one receiver in Denver, but maybe in a year's time he is, if they don't, if they trade Judy or something like that. Jaden Reed, probably not the number one receiver, but he could still be very productive in that Green Bay offense. Hendon Hooker could be a starting quarterback for the Lions in 2024. Sam Laporta and Michael Mayer are probably the tight end ones on their team. Roshan Johnson could be the best running back in Chicago. We think it's Khalil Herbert, but we don't know. We're assuming a lot there. Khalil Herbert's had a couple good games in the NFL, but he was a sixth-round pick for a reason. Rashee Rice could be a nice possession receiver for Kansas City. Josh Downs could be really good for Anthony Richardson, a good slot guy. Cedric Tillman, he's definitely not going to be the number one receiver there, but Amari Cooper's a little bit old. We still don't know completely what we have in Elijah Moore. We've seen flashes. We saw a 5-game stretch in his rookie year in 2021. That's kind of all we've seen. So, all these guys in the second round, you can see a decent, maybe 50%, 40% chance of they could be significant contributors, and that's kind of all you're looking for in the second round. You're kind of taking dart throws a little bit. Now, I will say that A-Chain, Mingo, and Charbonnet, to me, those are the next three picks in the second round. And if you want to switch again, if you want to switch Mingo for A-Chain, Charbonnet for Mingo, based on your personal preference, that's fine. But I do think these three players should be going in the first three picks of the second round, right? So these 15 players that we have here, all the 12 first-round picks and the first three of the second round, these are who should be going in the top 15. Now, after that, it gets really murky. It's kind of like personal preference. You can make a little bit of a reach if you like, knowing that, I only have one pick in the second round, and my next pick's not until 305. I'm just going to kind of reach a little bit, take the guy I want. If you want to take Hendon Hooker at the 203 because you feel strongly about it and you're kind of weak at quarterback, go for it. If you want to take Rashee Rice because you really like the fact that he's with Mahomes, take him at the 204. Go for it. These are where hopefully you did your own research. You don't have to listen to all the experts out there. You have your own opinion as well. Take the guy that you want. So, we're going to kind of get into it here. And on the clock here, I'm just going to check who is here. Now, I'm not going to follow up too much with what they drafted in previous rounds. I will mention it like, if I did draft Bijan and A-Chain, I wouldn't draft another running back potentially. But I'm going to kind of go through here. Obviously, we are rookies only, just making sure I don't miss anyone. And again, this is going to come down to like your personal preference. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. I'm going to start off with a guy. No, you know what? I am going to follow. So this team, they took Bijan and A-Chain. I'm going to follow kind of that draft there. If I do go running back with the 101 and 201, I'm going to take a receiver here. And I'm going to take a guy, again, this may be a bit of a reach. He's ranked 208. If you see, he's pretty far down this list. And that's Michael Wilson, Arizona. I really, really like Michael Wilson. Let me just turn off my sound there. I really like Michael Wilson. I think he has all the tools to he's out of Stanford. I think he has all the tools to become a wide receiver, strong wide receiver too for a team. He's one of the few receivers that I think can develop into like a complete receiver. A lot of these guys, they're kind of one-trick ponies. They have their roles type of guy, like a Josh Downs. He's going to be a slot guy. A Jalen Hyatt, he's going to be a deep threat guy. So I'm going to go for the potential of a guy, especially in this third round, of Michael Wilson, potentially, him potentially developing into an all-around receiver for Arizona. That receiving room doesn't worry me too much as well. You got Hopkins, who may or may not be traded, but he's coming near to the end of his career in Arizona. Marquise Brown, okay, you can go along. Rondale Moore hasn't done anything. You can pair someone up with Marquise Brown. So just a little, an example of if you like a guy, no matter how far down he is, we're in the third, fourth round. All these guys are dart throws. Go with someone you really, really like. Next up here for this team too, they went Richardson, Mingo. I'm still going to go best player available most of the time, despite if it's another quarterback or another receiver. That's not going to play too much into my decision. It's not Irish. I'm going to take a guy that I really, really like, and that's Tank Bigsby here. Love Tank Bigsby. Always have. Loved him since I started watching film on him. He was played behind a terrible offensive line at Auburn, and I think that affected him and his consistency. If you look at his numbers, it was very inconsistent. But, man, he made the most of what he could. I think him going to Jacksonville was very telling to me. I've put up a little bit of antennas or a little bit of an alarm system of like, oh, man, ETN. Like, I'm a little nervous there. I'm a little nervous with ETN because it's Doug Peterson didn't draft ETN. And maybe ETN just doesn't fit what Doug Peterson wants to run. There's that possibility. I'm not saying it's for sure going to happen, but drafting a running back in the third round, you don't do that unless you feel like you really, really need a running back. Teams that are pretty solidified at the running back position are not going to do that. So maybe he's just going to be like the second, the second punch of a 1-2 punch with ETN, but I don't know. I don't think ETN can carry a load of much more than 200 carries. So that's in the back of my head here. Going to look down here. So we got team 3 at the 103, took Young, Charbonnet. Just going to make sure I'm not missing anyone before I go out. And yeah. You know what I'm going to do here? Again, I'm going to maybe reach for a guy, but it's a guy that I really like. We're going to see how he plays in the NFL, but this is Tank Dell. Really, really like Tank Dell. If you watch his film, you're going to kind of fall in love with him. And then you check his weight and be like, man, he's 165 pounds, like the smallest receiver, I think, in the NFL now. We're going to see how that works out because we're worried about guys that are 180, 185. He's 15, 20 pounds lighter than that. He's 165. He is tiny. How is he going to play against press coverage? We'll see. I will say this. He gets off the line incredibly. His burst off that offensive line is amazing, and that's how you beat press coverage if you're not a big receiver. Antonio Brown is potentially a Hall of Famer because of it. He was not a big receiver, but his burst off the offensive line, his route running, it mitigated that, right? It canceled that out. So if Tank Dell can do that, which I think he can, I like it. You've heard the stories. CJ Stroud went out and said, I want Tank Dell. He told the Texans, take Tank Dell, and they did. He's going to be paired with CJ Stroud. That receiving room, it's kind of like, what is it? You got Nico Collins. You got John Mechie, who I hopefully comes back and does well. But there's room there for Tank Dell to be the alpha. So he's a player that I really, really like. I'm really intrigued by it. Just going to double check here. A couple quarterbacks. Probably wouldn't take one here, but yeah. Okay. Just going to take a little bit here and just double check some of my draft board here. We're at team 4 where they took Stroud and Mims. I'm going to kind of look here, make sure there's no receivers I'm missing. This is probably where I would take a chance on Jalen Hyatt. I'm not the biggest Jalen Hyatt fan, but I can't deny that there is potential there. He's in a receiving room where there's a bunch of like slot guys. Like he could be, he does something different that all the other guys there don't do. He could just be like a Steve Slayton, Steve Slayton's a running back for the Texans in the late 2000s. A Darius Slayton, where he's just kind of a deep threat. Darius Slayton's had one good year and then injuries. But there is that path there. If you maybe you're a Will Fuller type of player, Deshaun Jackson type of player, where you're strictly basically like a deep threat, but you could be very successful. So I'll take the chance there. I'm not going to take him in the second round, me personally, but third round here, everyone's a dart throw. Everyone is a dart throw. So go for it. Go for someone. Make that dart throw. Going into team 5, they have Gibbs and Jaden Reed. Just going to double check here. Yeah. Something I like to do here is I do like to take chances on quarterbacks and tight ends because, again, we just talked about it. Everyone's kind of a dart throw here. And if you do hit on a quarterback or tight end in the 3rd or 4th round, it's incredible value, way more valuable than a receiver or a running back. So I'll be okay with taking Luke Musgrave here. He is the the Green Bay tight end that they took in the 2nd round, I believe. I know they took 2 tight ends. They took Luke Musgrave in the 2nd round. I like Musgrave. I think he has a lot of potential. He could step into a spot where he is the number 2 option there behind Christian Watson. They don't have a full receiving room. They got Romeo Doubs. I know they drafted Jaden Reed, but it could just be Musgrave. And maybe we don't know how Jordan Loves plays and if he plays with like a tight end or not, or how he plays with tight ends, but maybe he loves targeting the tight end. So another pick here that I'm going to make for the 6th team that went Smith and Jigba Hooker. I am going. I'll take Tyjae Spears. You guys might be wondering, why is Tyjae Spears falling for me? Well, it's that nervousness of his the report coming out that he has no ACLs, cartilage problems, arthritis, whatever it is, and that basically killed Todd Gurley's career. And they're saying we don't even know if he's going to make it out of his rookie contract. That makes me nervous. That's why Gurley went from the MVP or Offensive Player of the Year to basically a nobody. He had such a dominant run, but a short career. He was going off basically his first 4 or 5 years, and then he was done. And I know running backs always say, yeah, 4 or 5 years, but it is still, to see a guy go from Offensive Player of the Year and then 2 years later is basically done is pretty amazing. But you're in the third round here, right? So if Tyjae Spears gives me 3-4 years, I'm happy, right? If he is Derrick Henry's replacement, heir apparent, I'm happy. So I'm going to take that kind of handcuff to Derrick Henry. I know Hassan Haskins is there as well, but we'll see. I mean, Tyjae Spears, I should be saying, he does have good draft capital in the third round, which I really like. So all the third rounders are now gone. Kendry Miller, Spears, A-Chain, and Bigsby. Moving on here, just making sure, again, that I don't miss anyone. We got this team that went Addison, Laporta. Yeah. Just making sure, again, just looking through. Yep. I don't like Trey Tucker. He's the only third rounder that's left, I believe. So I probably don't like a lot of the receivers that are left. So I'm gonna go Chase Brown here. Very interesting because I like Chase Brown. He was highly productive in college. He put up some huge numbers in college. He put up 1,600 yards and 10 touchdowns last year. He caught 27 passes. He was basically like Illinois' offense. So I like that. I like that he goes to Cincinnati, and we know the Mixon situation there of the team wasn't very high on him. I still think Mixon does come back, signs like a team-friendly deal or takes a pay cut type of thing. But there's a chance Mixon's not there, or Mixon gets suspended or something, and the team moves on from him. And then it's kind of like, well, who's the running back for Cincinnati? I know there's a couple guys there. I forget the guy's name. I'm gonna look it up right now. I think it's like Travion Williams or something like that, who people are pretty high on. But again, he hasn't done anything. We don't know anything about him. P. Ryan's gone, which obviously he went to Denver. So yeah, Chase Brown, he could potentially wind up being the RB1 in Cincinnati, which is highly, highly valuable. So I'll take that there. Again, not a huge fan of these receivers. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the fourth round receivers that went. Yeah, man, just not a huge fan of these guys. Not a huge fan of. Okay. I think what I'm going to do here is this is what I would do. I'm going to take a shot on a quarterback here. I'm not a huge fan of some of these running backs here. You know what? I am of one of them, Israel Abanikanda. I really like him. He's a one-cut speed, interesting size speed guy here. So I would take a Abanikanda. I know Breece Hall's there, but who knows? Breece Hall might not be ready for the beginning of the season. He had a pretty significant injury. He might start off slowly. They might not want to give him a lot of carries. And so maybe Abanikanda becomes the two behind him. Yeah, maybe it is Abanikanda and he becomes the two. So, and there's value there. There's value just like it is with Charbonnet of like, yeah, I mean, I know he was a fifth rounder, but there is some value, for sure, some value there of like, no, actually, he's the handcuff to Breece Hall. If something happens to Breece Hall, Abanikanda is a smash play. So I'll take that. Again, we're in the late third round now. So these are all dart throws. A quarterback here, I'm trying to think. I'm gonna go tight end here. I'm not gonna go Darnell Washington, but I'm gonna go Schoonmaker or Schoonmaker. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. I know it's probably one of those, but Schoonmaker gets second round draft capital, which I think surprised a lot of people. Second round draft capital going to the Cowboys. They obviously need a tight end there. So I really like Schoonmaker. I think he could be a solid player. I don't think he's this amazing athlete or anything, but he can run block. He can be a Dalton Schultz in that offense. Is basically what I'm trying to get at. He can be a Dalton Schultz, and I'll take that chance here with Schoonmaker. Double checking here. Yeah. I'm going to take a chance on a quarterback here. A quarterback that I liked coming out. He has fun tape to watch. He goes to a decent situation. And that is Haener. Now, I know he's in New Orleans and Derek Carr's there, but, we'll see. I think Haener could get into some games if Carr gets hurt. Maybe Carr just sucks. There's always that chance. He's just kind of yep, you're done, dude. You're no longer any good. And Haener, let's see. Maybe he has a shot. He's gonna come in. I think if Carr gets hurt, and he's gonna put up some decent numbers, and he's gonna win games, kind of like a Heineke type of player. That's kind of what I see for Haener. Probably best served as a backup, but he is gonna get a chance, and people are gonna love him because he's just gonna win games. He's gonna win games. He's gonna gut it out type of player. So, I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anyone here. Yeah. Again, this is where it's reaching for players type of thing. But this is a guy, Dwayne McBride, goes to Minnesota. Now, he went in the 7th round, which is usually you just want to avoid those guys, all those guys. But Dwayne McBride is very intriguing. He's an intriguing prospect. I liked his tape when I was watching him. Out of UAB, he goes to the Vikings. Okay, there's these thoughts about, are they going to just move on from Dalvin Cook? And they still might do it, and the only reason they haven't is because he can't pass a physical, and he can't just cut someone who's not passing a physical. Dwayne McBride put up huge numbers at UAB, 1,700 yards, 19 touchdowns. He doesn't catch the ball at all. But he could have that Isaiah Pacheco-like impact next year where he comes in. Who is this guy? He comes in, beats out Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he's just their runs-down guy. Pacheco's their runs-down guy. He doesn't catch balls. He's probably not going to so much in Minnesota. They'll have someone designated for that. But if you can get a guy that you can say, yeah, he's going to be like Pacheco in 2022, take him. And I like Dwayne McBride, even though he's a 7th-round pick. Again, these are all dart throws. We're late. We're at the end of the 3rd round. Take guys that you like. Don't just say, oh, well, this guy was drafted higher. I didn't really like him. Don't like his situation. I like Dwayne McBride a lot. So that's who I'm going to take there. And another guy that I'm gonna take here is a quarterback, another quarterback, and he was a 5th rounder, Clayton Tune. Clayton Tune's another guy who you have a lot of fun watching his film. The guy has a big arm. The guy is mobile. He goes to Arizona. I think there's a chance Kyler Murray doesn't even play this year. I really think there's a chance that Kyler Murray doesn't play this year. Clayton Tune's going to be the guy, potentially. I know they have Colt McCoy there, but Colt McCoy's been in the league for 14 years or something ridiculous. If you're Arizona, why not just roll out Clayton Tune and just see what you got? Kind of like a Davis Mills of the Texans. If he's good, then you hit on someone. If he sucks, guess what? You're going to have a top pick next year, right? You have a top pick next year, and you can take a quarterback, a Caleb Williams, a Drake May. There's a bunch of quarterbacks coming out next year, which probably a couple of them would have been the number 1 quarterbacks this year. So I see it as a situation of I definitely don't think Kyler's going to be there the first month this season. And I think there's a chance they just say, you know what, Kyler, take the year off. We want to kind of tank. But if Clayton Tune is good, he's going to be good. So take that chance. I'm telling you, Clayton Tune good super flex option at the end of the third round. He could turn into something. If he sucks, then you just cut him. Whatever, it's a third round pick. So there you have it, guys. Again, third round picks, they get pretty bleak very quickly. But that's our first 3 rounds of our rookie mock draft. So we'll probably be back with a fourth round, and then we're gonna do some single quarterbacks. So I know a lot of you are in single quarterback leagues, not super flex leagues, and you'd like to see some mock drafts as well. So appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you guys watching this. If you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome. And we will catch you all next time.